好，那下面我跟大家讲一下我们这次要去台湾，台湾的情形。首先就是要让大家知道，台湾也是一个对多神崇拜的一个地方偶像的庙宇很多，而且各个不同的这些所谓的偶像的崇拜有佛教道教，这两个是最大的那么还有一贯道还有天道教那么认为自己什么都不信的大约也有19%，而 Christian 呢，把 Roman Catholic 都加在一起，大概只有4%。当然，我们也要感谢神，这个数据比前一个 decade 要高了1个百分点。对，然后在大城市里面，如果你去到台北那么听说在台北地区、大都会地区，基督徒的比例大约有超过10%。但是这个是一个overall 台湾的状况。好，那下面呢就是我们到了台湾，你从机场出来，你很可能会先坐机场的这个 bus 然后你可能坐了火车或者坐了高铁到达你要去的地方那么第一周要去苗栗，也很可能我们就会从机场坐计程车到苗栗，所以这些大概是你会最常使用到的交通工具。那么另外呢，就是到了台湾跟 Alhambra 这边一样，好吃的东西很多。然后我有听朋友跟我讲说，在美国就已经觉得很好吃了到了台湾发现台湾那边即使是同样的东西，好像还更好吃。所以我们到台湾真的很有口福。我们也都会去找一天的时间，让大家去夜市或者有一个 outing 的时间，让大家除了在服饰之外，也能够有一些 relax 的时光，那么也认识一下当地的风土人文的情形。好，那我们一共短宣有2星期，我们第1星期去的地方在苗栗。那苗栗在台湾的中间偏北，是一个靠山区的地方。我们要去的教会是苗栗基督教喜信教会。那喜信教会，如果我们从去年的照片来看就可以看到我们上课的情形，我们 worship 的情形还有带小朋友玩游戏的状况。那第2周呢，我们要去的是花莲，第2周要去的地方最多花莲是其中之一。花莲是我们从第1年就有去一直到现在几乎每一年都去，因为这个地方比较特别，它是只有让那些有问题的青少年可以在这里住宿，接受一个半开放式的辅导。他们平常白天还是会去学校上课，但是呢都是有老师跟专车接送，专车送去下课就把他们接回来。那平常周末如果他们要出去，也都一定会有辅导老师跟着。那因为什么会这样呢？就是他们当中有一些人可能是比较轻度的不良行为，就是还没有严重到要进入监狱但是要在这边先给他们一个辅导。那么因此在花莲，我们也会发现往年就是在花莲我们照的照片都不太能够随便po 在 Facebook 上面，都要经过他们院方同意，所以我们才能够放上去。所以 Rio 过去几年在花莲，所以他的照片比较少。所以去花莲的人就是你们可能上相的那个几率比其他的 team 要小一点。但是因为那院方认为要保护他们，免得如果还有一些黑道跟这些年轻人有纠结，就知道原来我要找的这个人他现在在这里，对，所以他们为了保护他们，所以有一点 identity 的 protection 这样。好，这是我们看他们的孩子们拍的照片。好，那么这也是上课的情形，所以去花莲 都是男生啊，服侍的对象都是男生。他们其实心性很单纯，第一天可能会有一点 rough 的这个 behavior， 但是其实他们也很容易做朋友，对不对啊？如果跟他们 you speak the right language 然后他们也很喜欢运动啊这方面。好，那么第2周我们还会去的另外一个地点在台中，在台中旁边乡下叫做乌日的地方，这个地方真的非常乡下。我们可以问 Sophie 啊，她要找一个住宿的地方啊，都已经不知道打了多少电话，上网做了多少 search， 还有我们都一直在要抓这个叫什么 get us crazy 哈但是好不容易现在台中找到一个地方，坐车坐 bus 可以15分钟就可以到就可以住在那里我有把 Sophie 给我的这个地图PO 出来。这里是我们要服侍的教会的会堂那么这个是我们要住宿的地方每天早上可以坐公车到教会来服侍，大概要15分钟，但是加上等车时间 maybe 要25 minutes 这样。好，这是他们教会的聚会的情形，就是年轻人聚会的情形。好，然后我们第2周还有所有CBMC members， 凡是参加短宣的，我们都会到高雄。那高雄今年呢，我们是第2年和 YMCA 合作。YMCA 在高雄当地，他们有弱势家庭的这个 program after school care， 所以他们暑假就想把这样的一个 program 稍微扩大一点，然后再与教会合作，那么让教会也能够请社区的小孩子来，然后他们有一些 YMCA 里面的 program 的小孩子也可以来参加，所以今年会选到在高雄的荣光堂。那这个是荣光堂给我们的照片，然后呢，在高雄我们也请 YMCA 的同工帮我们 book 了一个商务旅馆所以到教会大约走路如果走路的话 Sophie 给我的 data 是17分钟，那如果坐车大概是6分钟的时间。那在台湾暑假都是很热的时候，所以提醒大家就是一定要有帽子或者要带阳伞。那带阳伞不只是说因为爱美怕晒太阳，而是有时候台湾下午对很容易有这个午后的雷阵雨，就是完全没有预警，突然你就觉得天变黑了，然后 within 5 minutes 那个雨就下来了所以要有帽子，要有雨伞，然后厚重的衣服就都不需要。那有时候你在冷气房里面，如果你怕吹冷气有一点凉那像 Sophie 这样外面穿一个薄薄的一个 layer 这样就可以了。但是平常呢，就是简单的你的 T 恤你的裤子或裙子这样就好。那台湾也会有很多的蚊虫，所以你可以先把一些 mosquito bites 预防的带着。那如果你怕中暑那么在台湾当地可以买到一些薄荷脑或者绿油精这些就是可以在你觉得不舒服的时候可以 apply。 但是基本上我们都已经有跟教会确定，凡是上课的地方都有冷气，然后我们睡觉的地方我们今年也全部都是让大家可以住商务旅馆，我们没有办法让你们住5星旅馆那样子可能也就不是宣教了。但是呢但是我们会基本上让大家晚上有 comfortable 的睡觉的环境，会有冷气，有一个干净舒适的床，这样大家晚上可以有好的休息，白天就有足够的体力。所以那么我就把今年短宣大致我们要去的地方跟大家介绍到这里。
Hi everyone, so the next section we'll be spending some time reviewing our binders. For Hong Kong and Taiwan team member, we already sent out the digital version, so go ahead and please print it out and put it in a nice and organized binder, so that way when you go there it's easier to look for the material. So let's go over. So I mentioned, I also sent out the vocabulary card for the different lesson for every day digitally. And for people who are here, they already get the hard copy, but for the Hong Kong and Taiwan team member, please print your own. Try to print it in cardstock paper if possible, that way, because when you post it, you reuse it day after day to review those vocabulary card. It's good that it's more sturdy, or you put in sheet protector, that way it can preserve it better. Okay? And so let's just go through it from the top. We have some important days. So today is one of the training session, along with our second one. It will be June 17th, same time at 9 to 2. Okay. And we'll also have the debrief section in August when we come back from our trip. And for registration fee, I think I have received everybody except Simo, and we'll talk after that. And for immunization is recommended, it's not required to get the basic immunization to protect yourself, especially if you haven't traveled out of the country before. It's always good to have that for your protection. And for dress code, please dress conservatively. We are representing SOW when you go on this mission trip. Most of the time, we're pretty much wearing a team T-shirt, the purple shirt, and for guys, we'll wear just shirts is required at all time, and you know what I mean. And for girls, shorts has to be 5 inches, no higher than 5 inches above your knees. Yeah, you can wear capris, you can wear knee length, you can wear long pants. Probably not jeans, because jeans might be very hot, but something comfortable like a sport pants that's at the right length. Okay.
So
yes.
Each one will give one T-shirt, right?
Each person will get 2 T-shirts.
So we can change the
Yes.
other day and wash.
Yes. So there's some samples T-shirt size over there at the back, and after you try it on and determine the size, make sure you mark that on the chart that I prepare, and each person will get 2 next time, because we want to collect all the data and bring it next time.
Okay.
Okay? So please make sure to do that before the end of the session. No, for girls, no tank top, no spaghetti strap clothing, nothing revealing, okay? So common sense. For passport and travel documentation, I have received most of them, as I know some of them in the process of renewing. And once you renew, please go ahead and give me the updated information as well.
Well, I think as most pastors have told any new believers, that in order to nurture our spiritual growth, we need to read the Bibles, we need to pray, we need to attend the church worship and services. However, among all this, reading the Bible has become most difficult part for most of the Christians, because we find sometimes the language is hard to understand, and more often just because our daily schedule is too busy. So I don't know about our team members' current Bible study situation, but since you have registered to join the summer mission, then we strongly suggest, I cannot say require, because everybody has their liberty choice, but we strongly suggest every team member to have a daily devotion, a daily Bible study habit. If you haven't had one, maybe this is a good time for you to start. So the spiritual preparation here is to give some tips how to establish a daily devotion habit at your home or in your dorm and out of your busy schedule. First, we can set aside a time every day. It can be 6 a.m., it can be 12 o'clock during your lunch break, and it can be, right after your dinner. I won't recommend that you set aside a time like 11:50 because you are going to sleep at 12 a.m. No, that won't be a good time. Set aside a time that you are clearly awake. You cannot be bothered by any other stuff. For example, for Eugenie, maybe after kids go to school. And for me, I go to work every morning at 9, so I get up at 6:30 so I can have my daily devotion. So set aside a time every day and pick a good location. It can be your desk. Like me, I do it in my kitchen. Yeah, there's a kitchen dinette table, so I do it there. So pick a good location that's convenient for you, and you are not bothered by other family members' activity. For example, you are not right next to the TV station, or you are not right next to, find a location that's quiet so you can concentrate, and take time to read. You can pick any daily devotion material to prepare ourselves for summer mission. If you haven't had a daily devotion material as of now, you can study the book of Acts and see how the apostles, the disciples of Jesus Christ, how do they start the church, how do they preach, and when they face difficulties, what is inside of them that give them the power, give them the courage to continue on. So take time to read, and if you haven't found a good daily devotion material, do Book of Acts. If you have one, then just continue what you have. And if you have extra time, you can study the Book of Acts at your convenience. And take time to reflect. It's a good habit that whatever the scripture you read, may it be 10 verses or a whole chapter, after you read, you quiet yourself and ask yourself, what is the message in this scripture that God is going to speak to me today? So take time to reflect and take time to respond. If God reveals wrongdoings that I have done against a member of my church, maybe it's time that I should go to that person and apologize. Or maybe it's a vow that I had promised to God 10 years ago and I almost forgot. And today by this scripture, God reminded me. Then I am going to put into action. So take time to respond. Take time to pray. Ask the help of the Holy Spirit. And what you need will be the Bible, a journal or a paper, the writing utensil, and of course you have to have an open heart. Yeah. So this is a strong advice. I cannot say required, but almost. If I can say required, then I will say, please do daily devotion starting from now. All right, I'll give the mic back to Sophie.
Okay, next is how to write your testimony. I think since we're going on a mission trip, that's one thing that you might be able to use a lot, is to share your testimony with people. And what our church have been doing is having this 90-second testimony, because sometimes you don't have a whole lot of time to sit somebody down and have a long conversation. You only have a minute or two, and you have to see the person. You see the right timing. God is leading you, or it's a way for you to connect with a friend. Why do you believe in Jesus? Because the kids might ask you, parents might ask you, the local people might ask you. So you want to be ready at all times and share 90-second testimony. So if you already have it, great. If you haven't, so start brainstorming, start writing it down, start practicing with a partner so that you feel comfortable sharing your testimony. You just briefly, what you used to be like, why did you need God, what changes, and then what happened afterward, after you accepted Christ? How did God change your life? Just a very brief summary of your testimony. Okay, so start thinking about that, and this right up here give you a better idea of the benefit, preparing it, how to share with people, and it has a sample of Paul's testimony from Acts that you can reference that as well. And next, we're going to talk a little bit about support team, because when we go on mission, we're going on a spiritual battle. We're out in the front line, and we also want people to be in the back line, also supporting us. It can be a family member, it can be your brothers and sisters from church, or small group. So I would definitely encourage each one of you to find a support group. Tell all your brothers and sisters, close friends, that you're going on this mission. Why are you going? When are you going? Give them details. It can be a WhatsApp group. It can be an email group. That way you can post update when you need to share a prayer request. You can do that. So I really feel that is very powerful. I did that for most of my mission trip, and I really it's like all my brothers and sisters. Some of them even support me financially, and they feel like they are actually part of this mission trip. They're going through all these difficulties with me, and they also experience how God provides for us, and how seeing God's working through these difficulties and God's plan for the trip and all of that. So, so even people who are not actually physically there in Taiwan with us, they also can experience that spiritual growth as well. So definitely start thinking about who you would like to invite to be on your mission support team. And so there's some material that kind of talk about how to build a support team, or who should be on there. And then the next page, on the following page, the 14th, that will be some contact information for the church for each of the location. Just for emergency, let's say make a copy, I'll give it to your family member, so they know in case they need to contact you. Your cell phone is, let's say you can't get a hold of, there's also a backup emergency contact. When later on, we're going to talk about the reporting time, travel time. Then we'll go into when to arrive the country, when to leave the country, all of that. So, but this is the emergency contact. There's also a page for you to take notes. And then you'll see the blue divider page. That's the start of the actual curriculum for all 5 days. So I know not everybody an English teacher here, and no worries. The main thing here is not necessary to teach them. They have to be all English teacher, and they have to be fluent in English after that. So our main goal here is still to share the gospel using this platform of teaching English. And we can teach. So there's different ways of how you approach to start the lesson. I would say, first of all, in the beginning, some tips would be, so you introduce yourself, you can give yourself even like let's say a name of, for me, I'm Sophie, so I'm Strawberry Sophie. So you can find something fun that for the kids to remember you and tie some English in, great, walk in saying some good morning, some basic terms. You can use some of the terms in English to kind of incorporate more English as much as you can. But the meat of this curriculum is this Bible story that we want to get out. Later on, we'll also talk about class management too. But right now, let's talk about the vocab. So when you teach younger level versus older level, it can be completely different teaching styles. Especially when they're younger, they don't have a lot of English knowledge yet, so they don't barely maybe just knowing ABCs. So those vocab will be like probably over the head. So observe. You don't have to be super rigid about, oh, we have to teach all of these vocab. No, observe your class and see what works and what doesn't. Like, pay attention to their expression. They're like, oh. Then you got the signal. Okay, they don't get it. So most of the lower elementary student class start out with mostly you describe the story in Chinese. And I have some pictures of Ruth, the story of Ruth, prepared and upload to a Google Doc that I will share at the end of the training. That way you can print it out if you're bringing an iPad, you're bringing a laptop, whatever electronic device or projector. You can do that and just show it on those electronic devices. Assume that they don't have it over there. Assume that they have like a chalkboard and that's it. But you can always do the primitive method of just printing it out, put it in a sheet protector, and then just show it, and just so that way it gives some visual for the kids. Oh, okay, we are talking about Ruth in the field harvesting barley. So that way the kids can kind of imagine it and they can follow through. Then you can describe most of the story in Chinese, and then the following section will be vocabulary. Then you can pull out a few vocabulary from the vocabulary card that you feel is age appropriate, and then go over them. And then you have them take notes, write it down. That way the parents think that, okay, we are actually teaching them some English. Okay? Yes. So try to remind the kids to bring their stationery, the notebook, the pencil. Most kids, they know about it, but just in case if they're not, bring some extra paper just so we can maybe have them write something down. That way they can focus a little better. And of course, you can just kind of assess their level and go from there. And upper elementary or maybe even high school, if they have a better knowledge of English already, you can be more creative. You can start out, let's do a skit. And you can narrate in English, and sometimes when you're doing a skit, you can be very dramatic, and they are entertained, and they can kind of just guess, oh, what is that story is kind of about, and then you use English, and then you kind of throw in some vocabulary in there, and then after that, you can have the kids like kind of restate the story again in Chinese in their own understanding, and that way you can test their understanding. And that way you can have them translate the part, English, Chinese part. So for the curriculum, they all have Chinese and English of the passage. So that's very helpful. And when you do vocabulary, feel free to use some examples. I already, in the lesson, use examples. You can also, besides the biblical examples, you can use day-to-day examples. So that way they can relate. This is not all about just in the Bible. You can use those words in their daily lives. Any questions so far for the English teaching tips?
Do they have any projectors or any
It varies from location to location. I can't guarantee. Last year we got lucky. We brought our own projector actually, but when we get there, we were in the classroom setting and they have the projector and the computer, but not everybody have access to. So I would say just assume there's none, and then if there is, great, so you're just pleasantly surprised. But I would say prepare for the worst.
May I provide additional
Sure.
information? Because it will be in Kaohsiung Rongguangtang, so usually the church will have one or two, but if they have more classrooms, then maybe church cannot afford to have each classroom with one projector. So if you have a small one or easy to carry, then just for preparation.
Yeah, I've seen they have projector this small that they project, and good enough quality. It's not the best quality, but good enough that if you can have the story time. Especially little kids, they love sitting right in front of you, and then the board is just right there. Then they project, and then it's probably good enough. Or you can just hold the paper. They can all see because they're right there. I mean, older age is different. They're not doing story time. So you just have to depend on your class level and make adjustment.
Or maybe, Sophie, what you can do is you can call the pastor in Kaohsiung Rongguangtang and find out whether they can afford to have each classroom one projector.
Okay, I can find out.
Then,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
if one item less in the luggage, will always be better.
Okay, I'll find out. Yes, we are also in the they are in the process of recruiting, so I'm trying to get an idea of how many students they are recruiting. But I don't know the final count until maybe closer to the trip. But as soon as I find out those information, I'll share that with you guys.
Oh, the power voltage in Taiwan is the same in Hong Kong or in here? The outlet
Hong Kong, I don't know, but
to
to the
determine.
US is almost the same. One is 120, one is 110. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I remember we didn't bring anything different. We
The
just
outlet
used
socket, okay?
Yeah.
yeah, everything
Yes.
is the same, I think.
The same like in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Easy.
Yeah. Good question. So we're gonna go into the lesson a little bit. I would encourage everyone, even we might be dividing the task later, but be very familiar with all parts of the lesson. Because even if you're not the main lead, you might be playing some supportive role, but you still need to know what's going on so you can help and support throughout the lesson. So I would also prepare all 5 lessons before leaving the country. I wouldn't count on, you might have some free time, but what if you don't? What if you got busy? What if you're tired? So I would definitely prepare all 5 lesson materials before you leave the country. Because you also might want to, I need to make copies, I might need to make a sample. All of that, you want to have put together all the material first. Okay, so let's talk about classroom management. I know some people might have experience with teaching Sunday school, and others might not, so I just want to go over some tips. And if you have other tips that you would like to share, feel free to jump in as well. For teaching kids, sometimes most important thing is getting their attention and also establishing authority. So normally the first day is very important. I usually first introduce myself. I also get to know each of the students' name. You can have them make name tag, tape it down so that way it's easy. You can call on their name. I also will write all the name on the chalkboard or whatever board they have, and that will be my way of like a system of accountability, of like a reward system. So okay, somebody participate. Oh, good job, and everybody can see it, and they're like, okay, I need to answer the question next time. Like they'll get it, incentive driven. That would help them to participate more, behave more. Also. I'll establish the classroom rule because you're not their normal teachers, and they know, and they would like to do everything they can to not listen to you. So you want to establish that you're the authority, but not in a mean way, but just as a way that when teacher is talking, student is listening. Or if one student is listening, everybody is listening. And you can have create some sort of signals that works for you. You can clap 3 times, count down to 5. That to gather to get their attention. That they know. Let's say I count to 5. That means everybody is quiet. So you just need to establish something that they know that works for you. Or sometimes also turning off the light. If you have access to light, turning off the light, then they will what's going on? Then they will quiet. So that works for me. I'll keep those. Sometimes I'll keep those name on. I will keep it on all throughout the week, or maybe take a picture of it, or just in case it got erased. So that way, at the end of the week, I'll tally up all of the check mark and see who got the most, and then I will bring a small gift for maybe the top 3, or like a bigger gift for the top 3 and some smaller gift for everybody. So that way, nobody feel left out, but the top 3 feel special. Okay? So what I did last year is I went to Alleluia bookstore. I got those bilingual Chinese-English Bible. They are cartoon for kids, and they really liked it. And one of them, I also got them CDs of Stream of Praise. They have some kids version CDs, DVD, but I don't know how to access of those CD player over there. But I know for the Bible, kids Bible, Chinese bilingual English Bible, the kids really liked it. One girl told me, "Oh, I finished reading it like the next day. Like she really want to read that book." So and yeah, so just think of something or like little bookmark with like Bible verses, and that can be like for everybody's gift that you write a few encouraging word for each of your students at the end. That what you see them, they grow. They see them, they participate. Then and that way they remember little things that they remember. They can bring home with. Any question or anything you want to add or from your past experience about classroom management? Okay. Then for the first day, I will do an icebreaker. I will do something. It can incorporate English. What I did was I called it move your butt. This is 大风吹, and in English I said move your butt. So you have them sit in circle. So whoever in the middle, they need to introduce themselves in English. Preferably if they have an English name, help them come up with an English name, or maybe the local English teacher already make them have an English name, and then introduce, let's say, talk about their favorite food, favorite color, whatever. So that way, my favorite food is. So that way, they get to practice. They're having fun, and they get to practice English during the times that we're not talking about Bible. We are also teaching them English. So I would definitely do something like that. Get them going, and then and for other days, from Tuesday to Friday, because we start out with worship. And if they already kind of know each other, then we don't really need to do the icebreaker every single day in the beginning of the lesson. It can be like in the middle when they're like after the story time, they're ready for some movement, ready for a break. Then we can do the game during that time. But I would say for the first day, you can do the icebreaker in the very beginning. Then always you can start out with a prayer. You can also kind of talk about the lesson. So this week we'll be talking about Ruth. The book of Ruth is from the Bible. You can show them the physical Bible. Show them about what is this book is about. This is God's word. We're not just making this up. And then ask them, kind of get an idea from your audience. Who do you think God is? Have you heard about God? Have you heard about Jesus? And kind of see where your kids are, so you know what kind of audience you have. And for my last experience, they all throw all kinds of names of God. They thought they know God, and then I told them, do you know there's many God out there, but there's only one true God. That's Jesus. Then I was like, oh, okay, that can be a teaching moment too. So you can do something like that. And then, so we keep going. We'll go through the lesson. They have the English and the Chinese part. And then there's the vocabulary. I have broken it down to lower elementary, upper elementary. So if you're doing mostly lower elementary will be like first and second, and upper elementary is fifth and sixth. But if you have like third and fourth, then you can just kind of mix and match. See if which grade level or word is more appropriate for your kids. And there's also the theme verse, Ruth 2:12. So I will definitely bring this up every single day, kind of highlight that and try to memorize it. I will make hand motions with it because usually my personal experience is if I do something with hand motion, then I can remember better. And even if I don't remember the actual word, I can do this. Oh, good, that's that word, I would sometimes a way to look for hand motion is look for sign language. So I Google sign language of this particular word, then I'll figure out a hand motion for that. And then the next activity is like activity trees for family tree. And then there's some game ideas. So that's kind of like the layout format for every single lesson. I'm not going to go into every single detail, but you kind of get an idea. We'll fast forward to lesson. Oh, let me kind of point out like some of the materials and supplies that you might need to prep for. That's one of the lesson on page 34. There's the Bible puzzle word find. So that might be something that you need to make copies of ahead of time. I know when we were sometimes in 7-Eleven in Taiwan, you get to make copies. But just in case, I will bring 10 copies with me just in case. That way you already have it. If they have more, you can make more copies. Great. I would say this is probably more for younger kids, and then the older kids you can also, or maybe they want to do both. If you have time, you can do both. So for the double happiness, art and craft, paper cutting, then you will need some red construction paper, some scissors. We can probably get when we get there, and I'll also find out from the local church to say if they have any scissors. That way we don't have to buy a whole lot. And then Thursday and Friday, I would say, if you see the opportunity, Thursday also you can do altar call. But if they're not ready to raise their hand yet to accept Jesus, you can do it again on Friday. And I have actually some material prepared. Is the Gospel Bridge. On page 38, you'll see, kind of use a visual to explain to a little kid what is the whole gospel about. So practice with each other to explain to this gospel bridge. So actually you can do that with anybody. And another altar call activity that I really like, I did it many times in different locations. So I'll have some different color construction paper, have the kids trace their hand on the paper, and have the kids write their bad things that they did, their sins, on the hand, and then they will brainstorm in, and then they will all pray together, pray with each of the kids, or pray as a group, and then you can have the kids go up and nail the sins on the cross. Instead of using the actual pen or staple, we probably use tape. That's safer. So you just tape the hand on the cross, and the cross. You probably have to go find the material in the local stationery store. Same as the color construction paper. That's what we did. And for the supplies locally, last year is SOW will give the money to team leader. Team leader will bring everybody to the local stationery store and buy whatever supplies they need. Yeah, they have the basic supplies like paper, color paper, cardboard stuff, probably they have, but it's something that is a little specific that you're not sure, bring it with you just in case, or bring a few with you just in case. And that will be a very good activity. Then you can pray with them, whoever raised their hand, and do the sinner's prayer with them. And also on Friday, you can do the review game. You can make it fun, do a Jeopardy game, have different categories, so that way the kids can recap the whole lesson for the past week. And then page 40 is the worship song. So in a little bit we'll break into group, and then we'll talk about who's the worship leader. And so today, and thank you for Chester, Phoebe, and Sarah kind of demonstrate some of the songs in hand motion. So be familiar with all the songs. Even if you're not the worship leader out there, you are also leading worship with the audience, and you'll be encouraging the kids to the left and to the right, and the kids may be behind you, they will see you, so you are in public eyes everywhere. So even if you're not up there, and down there, you're also leading worship. So I'll definitely be very familiar with those worship songs. And hand motion as much as you can. And game ideas. So these are like when you, in the middle of after you finish the lesson, the student just getting a little antsy, they just need to get out of the chair, this is the time that you pull out this list. Okay, what can we do? So do something fun, interactive with them, then calm them down again. Okay, resume lesson. So, so then you have another divider page, and that's the daily devotion. So every morning, team leader will gather everybody to spend some time with the Lord, do a daily devotion, or together or on your own, and prayer time together for sure. And at the end of the day, then you guys can also, team leader will gather everybody to pray and recap on what works, what doesn't. We learn from each other, and then we'll pray for each other and pray together. Because prayer is so powerful. When you're in the front line of the battle, you really, really need prayer. Because Satan's attack is just, you can feel it. And that's why you just, I need to just pray so earnestly every single day. Because we are doing God's work. We're not relying on ourselves. We're relying on God. Okay? Okay, so next we're going to go over the team covenant and waiver forms. So why don't everybody spend some time reading each one of them, and then also the waiver of liability. There's a personal copy, the team member copy, and there's also the SOW copy. So the SOW copy, you would need to print and sign and date, and I will need to collect from everybody before you leave the room today. And the other one is for you to keep.